Coming up today on Philadelphia Eagles Now, is Jalen Hurts hurting badly, and is that a concern for the Eagles moving forward toward the NFL playoffs? Speaking of the playoffs, wild card round is set. We'll take a look at those matchups in the NFC and AFC moving forward on this Saturday and upcoming Sunday. An update on the Saints pick as well, as Philadelphia going to be drafting number 10 in the 2023 NFL Draft. And could Jonathan Gannon or Shane Steichen head to the Houston Texans to be their next head coach to replace Lovie Smith? All of that on the docket, but first, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate all of your support in helping us get past 39,000 subscribers. It's my goal that by the end of the NFL season to get Eagles Now to 40,000 subs. So if you want to stay in the know and get updated every single day on all of the happenings around the Philadelphia Eagles, lock us in and hit that subscribe button now. We begin with the most important topic with this football team heading into the big dance. That is the injury status of Jalen Hurts. Hurts and Nick Sirianni saying after that win against the Giants, which was really ugly late, that Hurts had to play through some pain on Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field. Here's what Sirianni admitted after that victory. We didn't feel like there was more risk, but I know he was hurting. He was hurting bad. But that's the kind of competitor that he is. That is the kind of person that he is, and the kind of teammate and leader that he is, that he was able to go out there and tough through it. And the eye test was pretty clear with the game calling, the play calling, and the playing style of Jalen Hurts that he was not 100%. He threw a couple of nice balls downfield. He threw a couple of nice in-breaking routes and some slants that were accurate with some zip, but as the game wore on, I thought that Hurts' arm may have given him some trouble. And then from a play-calling standpoint, Shane Steichen wasn't calling a lot of design quarterback runs for Jalen Hurts, because why run the risk of him getting injured with the playoffs coming up in a game that you should be able to win against a Davis Webb-led Giants team? So Hurts, in my eyes, did not look like his true MVP self. 20 of 35 on the day. Yards per attempt, yards per completion, really just okay. 229 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. The one good sign was that deep ball downfield to A.J. Brown, in which he gave A.J. a chance on that 50-50 ball back shoulder. It was beautiful, really good touch and accuracy. And then a couple of those throws to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Dallas Goedert as well on those pop passes. Hurts making those throws. So at least it wasn't, okay, he can't throw the football at all. He threw it, certainly, but the interception into the end zone struggled to really get some mustard and velocity behind that throw. But the hope here is that with 2 weeks left to go until the Eagles actually have to play at the Link after locking up that number 1 seed, that Hurts is going to continue to get healthier and healthier. And here is his honest assessment with his physical nature after the game. I had some things I had to battle within myself. I knew I wanted to be available for my team. It's really tough being out, let alone taking some losses when you're out. I want to be available for my squad. I really feel like if you want something, you have to do what you have to do to go get it. Today, we did just enough to get that goal. Coming into this game, I've been really pushing myself beyond measures to try and be available. We do what we have to do. We're the number 1 seed, and we're the NFC East champs, and that's the goal we set out to do. Now I can continue to recover and be ready for the playoffs. And for Hurts, been really good in the regular season. We'll see what he can do in those aforementioned playoffs, but in his last 18 regular season starts, Jalen Hurts is 17-1, so get out of here if you don't think this guy's an MVP candidate. And don't tell me that Jalen Hurts can't throw the football, because when a guy's completing 68% of his passes, he's an MVP candidate, and he's been chucking the rock and improving every single season in doing so. That tells me he's putting in the necessary work to become a better passer, and we've seen that come to fruition right before our eyes. And for Jalen Hurts' injury, they can only go as far as Hurts will take them. This team is certainly limited with Gardner Minshew, and Hurts is one of one and a really special quarterback, and this is why it was so important for the Eagles to get that bye. Hurts can get healthy. You give him an extra week to do so that he doesn't have to play this upcoming weekend. The same can be said for Lane Johnson, best right tackle in the game, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. Hopefully, they'll be okay for the divisional round, as the Eagles will kick off their playoff rounds in the second round against whoever they get. We'll notice and find out after this upcoming weekend. So, who do you want the Eagles, speaking of that, to face in the divisional round? A couple of teams out there. Obviously, Philadelphia with the number 1 seed will get the last ranked team in terms of seeding that is remaining in the second round of the playoffs. Drop me a team name down below in the comment section. If you can't do it right now, maybe we can simplify it for you, because here is the final NFC Playoff Picture heading into the postseason. Eagles get that number 1 seed. Franchise record, 14 wins, 14-3 for the season. San Francisco 49ers, 13-4. They had the NFC better record as compared to the Vikings, so that's why the tiebreaker goes to San Francisco. They're at 2, Minnesota 3. Bucs won the NFC South, 8-9. They're going to host the Dallas Cowboys in that 4-5 matchup. Giants on the road to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Seattle Seahawks will play the San Francisco 49ers. Niners Seahawks Saturday, Vikings Giants Sunday, Bucs Cowboys on Monday night on ESPN. And then the Eagles get that much-needed first-round bye because they're certainly feeling it going through the rigors of the 2022 NFL season. As for the AFC playoff picture, a couple of good matchups here. Bills-Dolphins, AFC East rivalry game. That's Sunday, 1 o'clock. Bengals-Ravens on Sunday. And then Jaguars and Chargers. That is the Saturday game after that Niners-Seahawks matchup. If you want to talk Eagles football, you want to talk playoff football, NBA, college football, whatever, hit me up. Twitter, Instagram. I cover it all here at Chat Sports, at Chase_Senior. I talk sports for a living, so I love chopping it up with everybody. Make sure you give me a follow. Don't be afraid to slide in the DMs. Now, we do have a brand new sponsor we want to tell you about, but stay tuned because there's so much to get to on today's show. It is Fume. Try Fume.com/chatsports. You can trade out your bad habits today with Fume, a brand new sponsor here at Chat Sports. And speaking of those bad habits, we all have them. We certainly know how hard they can be to kick those bad habits. Our sponsor, Fume, is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. I didn't expect much out of Fume when we started trying it here at Chat Sports, but the minty sensation and all of their other flavors, really powerful, and it really hits the back of the throat. And they have a couple of really good flavors that we can tell you about. Now, Fume is not a vape. It's a non-electric device designed to transform your negative habits. The easiest way to stop a bad habit, switch to a positive one. That's why I'm on this running streak of 230 days now. Fume designed perfectly to do just that. Head to tryfume.com/chatsports. Use code chatsports to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com/chatsports. Promo code chatsports to save an additional 10% off. The Journey Pack comes with 3 unique flavors: maple pepper, crisp mint, as well as white cranberry. We will put that link in the comment section as well as the description of this video. There are the flavors right there. Now to the Eagles getting some great news pertaining to the 2023 NFL Draft. Eagles get the number 1 seed. They win the NFC East. Home field advantage going through South Philadelphia. A franchise record 14 wins, and in April, the number 10 overall pick, all thanks to the New Orleans Saints. Who dat? Well, who dat? I don't know, but number 10, I know that is it. That is it right there. Chicago Bears, number 1 seed in terms of the NFL draft here, because crazy stuff that happened yesterday. The Bears lost, and then the Texans beat the Indianapolis Colts. So, Bears don't get the number 1 seed. I should have said the number 1 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Houston Texans, number 2 pick, followed by the Cardinals, who fired Cliff Kingsbury. Indianapolis Colts, Seattle Seahawks at 5. Detroit Lions via the Rams. Good story for them to have such a great year under Dan Campbell. 8-9 to finish it all out with the win over the Green Bay Packers. Maybe sending Aaron Rodgers into retirement. Las Vegas Raiders, Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers, Philadelphia Eagles rounding out the top 10 there. And then these are the other non-playoff teams in which we know the order of. Tennessee Titans just fired their OC. Texans, Jets, Patriots, Packers, Commanders, Steelers, Lions. That is the draft order from 11 to 18. And with this Eagles team, like right now as currently constructed, they do not have a lot of needs on this roster. But they will have some needs on this roster depending on who they bring back and re-sign in NFL free agency, because this is a team in Philadelphia in which a lot of guys are going to hit the market. All across the board, we've covered a lot here at Chat Sports on Eagles Now, so go back and watch those videos. So let's just operate under the premise that the Eagles could lose some marquee players to free agency who they either don't want to re-sign, they're not going to bring back, or that other player goes somewhere else to get some big money. I think the Eagles definitely need another edge rusher with Brandon Graham set to be a free agent. They're a little bit old there. Derek Barnett coming off the torn ACL. Robert Quinn going to be a free agent, hasn't done anything anyway. Josh Sweat, really good player, but edge rusher. Offensive tackle. Future for Lane Johnson, a little bit in question there. It's never too early to start getting your future right tackle because Lane even said he only has a couple of years left, and the Eagles do like to prioritize the trenches. So there you go. Edge rusher, offensive tackle, top two needs. Defensive tackle, depending on what happens with Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox, both going to be free agents. James Bradbury could leave in free agency, so that automatically gives you a need at cornerback. Linebacker, depending on what happens with guys like Kaiser White and TJ Edwards, both free agents. Safety spot, they could get some depth there. I'd love to see the Eagles bring back CJ Gardner-Johnson. Good to see him back on the field against the Giants. Wide receiver 3, I'm thinking a guy like Quentin Johnson out of TCU could be a target for the Birds late in the first round if he's still there. Really tall wide receiver who's good, and maybe a running back if Miles Sanders leaves in free agency and that price tag is too high. So what do you think the position is that the Eagles should target in the 2023 NFL Draft? Is it one of the ones that we talked about or not? Let me know down in the comment section. To Eagles coaching news now. A couple of their assistant coaches catching the eye of the Houston Texans after they fired Lovie Smith late on Sunday. This coming from Ian Rappaport that the Texans have requests in for D'Amico Ryans, defensive coordinator for the Niners, Jonathan Gannon, defensive coordinator of the Eagles, plus the Broncos defensive coordinator, Ejiro Evero, I believe is how you say his name. If not, I apologize. And then Shane Steichen. This coming in about 13 minutes after that original tweet from Ian Rappaport that Shane Steichen, after the work that he's done offensively for Philadelphia this year, the development of Jalen Hurts, also a candidate for that Texans job. It's of note that Shane Steichen did interview with Houston last year, and I would even throw Brian Johnson in the mix, the Eagles quarterbacks coach, who's done a great job developing quarterbacks over time in the college and ranks, and then with Jalen Hurts at the NFL level. And this is the reality of what happens for franchises when they have a lot of success. When you go 14-3, other teams notice that. They look at what you do schematically, offensively, and defensively, and they see the potential possibility that that offensive coordinator or that defensive coordinator could have a future as a head coach, and good teams get their coaches snatched. I personally would pair a young quarterback with an offensive-minded coach. That's why what the Texans have done doesn't really make sense the last 2 years. You get a retread in Lovie Smith and then a journeyman who never really had head coaching experience at all in Caldwell the year before that, and it's like, what are you doing here? And for a team like the Chicago Bears, I think they're in a very interesting position here with the number 1 overall pick. They have a defensive head coach who came in last year. The Bears' current regime did not draft Justin Fields. If you compare Justin Fields with Bryce Young, I'm going Bryce Young 7 days out of 7, and then again on Sunday because he's the better quarterback. So could a team like Chicago bypass Bryce Young? Or could they draft Bryce Young, trade away Justin Fields? But if you do go quarterback there, you have a defensive head coach who you just hired last year. So a team like the Texans, you're in that number 2 spot. Let's say the Bears pass on Bryce Young. I'm hiring an offensive coach, and I'm drafting Bryce Young. And those are really the 2 important pillars for that franchise. So which side of the ball would you target if you were running a front office and you wanted either an offensive coach or a defensive coach? Let me know. O for offense, D for defense. Get that chat popping down in the comment section. As always, appreciate all of you for tuning in to Eagles Now. Let's get to 40,000 subs as soon as possible.